The law of demand, or as most people know it, supply and demand, states that the cost of something and how many of those somethings people want to buy is linked. As the price goes down, people buy more, and as the price goes up, people buy less. A good example can be found at your local supermarket. Let's say something hasn't been selling well. That something will be put on special. Its price will be reduced. Let's say 50% off. At the reduced price, more people will buy it. But this is not how it works all the time in the real world. There are many exceptions. Sometimes the exact opposite happens. The price increases and people buy more. The original example of this was bread. Bread was a key part of the diet of poor people in Victorian era Britain, and there wasn't anything that people could easily eat instead if there was no bread. As the price of bread increased, poor people bought more bread because after they bought bread, they no longer had enough money for anything else. They couldn't afford meat or vegetables, so they bought more bread. This has also been observed more recently with the price of rice in a village in China. If you're paying attention, I'm sure you picked up on some of the particular conditions required for a given increase in demand to occur. Those being a cheap staple good, no simple alternatives, the price rises but the good is still cheaper than other options, and the people buying that good are poor. A similar phenomenon can occur with rich people buying extremely expensive things. In this case, the assumption is that the reason people want to buy it is because it's expensive. This is called conspicuous consumption. Essentially, these people just want to show other people how rich they are, and therefore, the more expensive something is, the better it is at showing that, and so the more desirable it is, and the more that people will buy. In this case, it's known as a Veblen good. Other things that defy the law of demand are those described as price inelastic. Things like petrol or medicine that people will buy regardless of the price. Sometimes people will buy more of a good as the price increases because people often assume price is linked to quality. I remember an anecdote of a retail store that managed to source children's singlets at an incredibly low price, and they tried to pass on that low price to their customers, but no one would buy them. After selling nothing for weeks, the store increased the price and rapidly sold out of those very cheap singlets. I'm sure there are more examples. Supply and demand is an observation. It's an idea. It's a tool of thought. You shouldn't throw it out. It won't hurt you to think about supply and demand when you consider how the price of things might change over time and with changing circumstances. But it's not the only thing you should think about, because the law of supply and demand is not a law.